So it is 6:26 on day one of the GAPS introduction diet for me. I have to say, I feel fine. I know that that's probably going to change overnight, so I am anticipating tomorrow being a really rough day, which stinks because I have to go pick up a clawfoot tub and try and get that into the back of a truck somehow. So it's going to be a really interesting day. Anyways, I thought I'd check in and let you know how day one went. Like I said, I feel fine. I don't feel deprived. I'm not hungry. I started off with bone broth and butternut squash for breakfast. And in between that and lunch, I sipped on another cup of bone broth. So I had a cup at breakfast, a cup in between, another cup of bone broth at lunch with some very well cooked Brussels sprouts, and then another cup of bone broth in between that, and I will be cooking dinner soon. So my plans are to have some chicken with the bone broth, and I'm going to add a tablespoon of sauerkraut juice to that to start my intake of probiotics. So that's the plan. I thought I would also let you guys know how it went at work today, being on the GAPS diet. I feel like what you can do at home is going to drastically be different from what you're able to do at work. So I have the fortunate ability to really kind of bring in what I need to work. I work in a very small office. So I had already ordered a small 2-quart crock pot that I brought in, and to use this to warm up my meals, because one of the major things you don't want to do is warm up any of your meals in the microwave. Obviously, we're trying to re-nourish our bodies, so if you are using the microwave, you're going to kill any nutrients that any of the food that you're eating has. So therefore not getting into your body. So in order to warm up food, because there's no way that I'm eating cold or room temperature food for any length of time, I got this crock pot, and it worked really well today. Granted, I was in broth all day, so that definitely helped the process. I'll be curious to see, once I get into more solid foods, how that's going to play out. But it worked really well. I even was thinking I might just get another 2-quart one to have at home. I have my big one that I actually cook in, but thinking about what I'm going to do for, meal by meal. It's just me, single girl. So it probably would be the easiest to have one at home as well. So that was definitely something I thought about before. I didn't prep as well as I thought, or I actually didn't think about it until last minute, but not prepping in what I was going to put all this bone broth in. So fortunately, my mom had a couple big jars for me, something like this. It's pretty big. I think probably 2 quarts is what I'm thinking this probably is. So that was what I was going to put them in, but I only had 2. So I needed more than that, and I ended up going to the store and getting 1-quart mason jars. 2 quart. 2-quart mason jars. So that is going to be a little bit easier, because I think that this is going to be what a day's worth of broth is for me. So I went through 4 quarts at work, or 4 cups at work. So, and then a 5th cup at dinner. So this is 4 cups. So I think that will probably be about right. I bought 8 of them. So if I can plan ahead and keep them filled and frozen, and then pull out the night before what I'm going to need for the next day, I think that will work really well. So the other thing is drinking a lot of water. So I kind of already was okay at this. I would go some days better. I'm actually better at drinking my water at work than I am at home. But I got at Target one of these awesome big 30-ounce cups, and I got one for work and one for at home. So that way, no matter what, I was kind of keeping a gauge on what I was drinking. I knew that 3 of these a day is going to be 90 ounces. The recommended intake for water is half of your body weight in ounces. So I'm at about 219, 220. So essentially that would be 110 ounces of water a day, which is a lot. So I really shoot for the 90, which is 3 of these bad boys. And that's not too bad. Granted, I'm in the bathroom all day long, but anyways, so with that being said, it is definitely recommended to be aware of the water that you're drinking. If you're drinking from city water, that usually has things added to them depending on where you're living. So, make sure that you're drinking clean water or stuff that doesn't have any additives to it, like fluoride would be something to consider. So, again, fortunately, my house has a water softener and a water filter already built in. So I just got a big, this is 1 gallon container that I could bring to work full of my filtered water. So that way I knew all day at work I was drinking and I didn't have to worry about getting water out of the faucet at work. It was a little tricky. I ended up, the tea that I made, just ginger tea, sliced ginger in water that I did with tap water because it was a little tricky with the Keurig. But I'll have to figure out a way to do that from now on. But other than that, I feel so far I've got a handle on it. Granted, this is day 1, so I'm going to probably eat my words in about 2 days. But as far as day 1 goes, I'm feeling okay. I will check in tomorrow. Hello, good evening. It is the end of day 5, actually. It was definitely my intent to do an end of day through the weekend, but I really didn't feel as bad as I thought that I would. So I didn't really feel like recording a lot of nothing. So the update is Friday was day 1, and that went really well. I was surprised, probably just because my body hadn't realized what I was depriving it of yet. Saturday, I definitely woke up with a headache that stayed for the rest of the weekend and progressively got worse. But I still had a little bit of energy. I felt a little bit more lethargic at day's end, but I had also moved, so that probably had a lot to do with it too, and just not having, all the carbohydrates. My body was probably just like, what's going on? What's going on? But Sunday was probably the most lethargic that I felt, the lowest energy. But again, it really wasn't anything that was, debilitating. Yesterday morning was the beginning of the worst, and I really wish that I didn't have to live life at all yesterday, but I had to be up early, drive an hour and a half, teach a class, talk to people for 4 hours, and hopefully not run to the bathroom all day long. So that was definitely interesting, but I woke up with a fever, with the sweats, and I felt awful, and I really just wanted to climb back in bed. But as the day went on, I did feel better. So getting up, moving around, that definitely helped. I'm sure if I laid on the couch, I probably would have just wallowed in my self-pity. So I'm glad that I was able to actually get out and do something. So ended up not being so bad. But today, basically same thing. I woke up this morning and felt terrible. So I had to work. I had to get up, do a double today. And again, the same kind of thing. As the day wore on and I was up and moving around, I definitely felt better. So really, so far, 5 days in, I definitely know that I'm detoxing, but it's not debilitating. So I'm very curious to see what ends up happening through the week. I will stay on the first stage of the introduction diet probably for a couple more days, just more for lack of time, being able to kind of put it together for what I can go on to stage two. If I'm remembering correctly, I think that I can eat eggs, which might be something easy to add in depending on timing. And I can't, I feel like getting into a little bit more of the sauerkraut juice and things like that to add to broths and things like that. I did have some sauerkraut juice over the weekend. It's recommended to kind of be cautious with it at the beginning to just kind of see what was going on with your tummy. But I did end up adding on the second day 2 tablespoons to one, and then on the third day 2 tablespoons twice, and then yesterday I think just 2 tablespoons once. So it really wasn't doing a lot, and I didn't necessarily feel any worse because of it. So probably going to amp that up a little bit. But I did also start the probiotics today. So I took those this evening, right after I ate, which is what's recommended. And I decided to do it at night just in case there was anything that ended up happening. I didn't want that to happen at work. So probably better to just, make that choice and have a bad night instead of a bad day. But other than that, I'm, full force ahead. I really don't have anything at this point that is daunting. I found a really great blog that the woman put together an ebook of recipes and day by day meal plans for the first 30 days on the GAPS diet. So I will put that information down below in that. I think that's a really great resource to be able to have, because it is a little daunting not knowing what you can eat like for breakfast if you're used to bagel in the morning, or even just eggs in the morning. You can't do that in the very first stage, so it can be a little weird trying to figure out what you can eat. So that I kind of wish that I had immediately, but glad I have it now. I'm only 5 days in, so I think it'll be very beneficial to have on that. It ends up being a good resource for anybody else. But so far, doing okay. Not dead, which is good. And we'll see how the rest of the week goes, and I'll check in with you then.